I would love to hear other aldermen, but it's up to the board.
There's no.
Okay, yeah, I brought this up last January, I believe, with the thought that it would be the 3-year, and then at kind of the 9th hour, I found out that it had to be 4-year. And so I talked to some of my constituents, and they were not at all a fan of 4-year. And basically what they said was that they felt like, if they ever got a bad alderman in, they'd be stuck with them for 4 years instead of 2. So that's why I dropped it. I didn't feel like, and it had to go to a vote, and I didn't feel like the money that it would cost the city to put it to a vote, I did not feel like it would pass. So that was my reasoning for dropping it.
With having aldermen running every year, it's not that much additional cost, because we're going to be on the ballot anyway. Every year we're on the ballot, so it would just go with it.
I have some comments. Like Carla, I heard from some residents who are not in favor of extending it to 4 years for the same reason, that if you get somebody that's a subpar alderman, they're locked in for a 4-year term. So I am not in favor of doubling it to 4 years. Yes, it would be nice to have to not run every 2 years, but it also gives residents an opportunity to decide who they want to lead on a more current basis. That's all I have.
As one of the new kids on the block, what Alderman Johnson is saying is very true, as all of you already know. In most cases, first year is a learning curve. It's huge. And, but on the contrary to that, 4 years is our position for the mayor. Totally understand that, but I'm not real sure that I can support a 4-year plan. Really can't at this time.
Everybody spoke at me. Well, I don't want to. I believe that's the whole point, is to do the canvassing. How else are you going to meet the people? How else are you going to get the feedback? Going door to door, talking to these people, they have the opportunity to talk to you. And I think that's the best thing there is. I have learned so much. I was reelected to the board this past April. So I had the opportunity to visit all the homes in Ward 2. And the people that were home were not reserved about telling you what they wanted from the city. So it was a great time. We got to chat, we got to know people. It was an opportunity. And I think that's really one of the most important things we can do. We need to take our guide from our own state legislature, federal legislature. 2-year terms is all they do. They do a 6-year term for the Senate. They do a 4-year term for the governor or the president. 2 years for aldermen seems like an acceptable. And it gives us that opportunity to meet the people, discuss their problems, because not everybody feels like they have a voice. But when the alderman goes out and seeking a position, whether they're running for mayor or whether they're running for an alderman position, it gives the people an opportunity to have their voice heard. I think that's so very important.
Thank you, Alderman Nay. So that being said, sounds like we want to do a show of hands to who's in favor of moving forward with increasing the term from 2 years to 4 years, or do we want to have more discussion?
I don't think there's any need. I mean, the majority of the board is, there's no motion to move it forward.
Okay,
So I just move on to the next discussion.
okay. Thank you, Alderman Johnson. Bless you. Okay, the second item on the agenda is the Consider Community Center for the city is Alderman Nay and Alderman Detweiler. I believe Alderman Nay has a point on this, so.
Speak again.
It did just occur to me, though, you may want to turn that on because if the recording is not going to capture anything that you say if you don't have your microphone. on.
What?
So in
Do I have to
spirit of-
repeat all that other? Never mind.
Word for word.
All right. Now, is that any better? About the same? Okay, good enough. All right, I'd like to discuss the opportunity that the Board of Aldermen has and the city has of addressing one of the needs that approximately 10 years ago we addressed. And it was a survey that we put out to all the community, asking people to respond to a survey that said, what should the city do for them? One of the things that came out of that was they wanted more recreation. And that was one of the things that we discussed as a board as to, that is something we should be doing. Providing an opportunity for recreation for our residents, what they could do. Because at the time, we did not have very much. There were opportunities elsewhere. The city of O'Fallon had their rec center. St. Peter had a rec center, but nothing here. And it was an opportunity that we got to listen to the people again. We had at least 4 or 5 meetings right here in this room where people came and expressed their views and talked about what they wanted to see. We talked about a community center where people could gather and people could do different things that a community center and whatever we put into it could afford them, right? Whether that was be a dinner hall, a kitchen, classrooms, a gymnasium. Those are the types of things. The one thing we did learn then was that they wanted a pool. Well, a pool is too expensive. I'm sorry, that's, if we were the size of St. Peter or now the size of Wentzville, we could easily do a pool. But with our limited tax revenue, pool's out of the question. Because, or otherwise, we go into we secure a debt that will last for quite some time. And that's what I propose, though, is that we may have some more meetings, discuss what the residents want, what could be good for our citizens, what kind of interests they have. It was interesting at that time. We listened to people talk about there was a group of women who wanted to do a quilting bee and have a quilting day that they could have. The churches didn't want to do that, so they didn't find one. They ended up going all the way to Hall, Illinois, and rented a lodge up there, and they went up for the weekend. And I visited that hall not too long ago and met 3 ladies from Darting Prairie who were in that original group. And they were there, and they said, it's too bad that we have to drive all the way up here, but we really like it because we get to stay over at the lodge too. They said it's just 3 days, 3 nights of just fun with these women who they associate with, and then occasionally one of their husbands to help. So they really enjoyed that. Well, that's just one aspect of what a community center could do. Another aspect of it is during our recent tornadoes that we saw come through this area, we were lucky. That tornado could have dropped down here just as well as anywhere else. And we don't have anywhere to provide people to go. We don't have a meeting place. We don't have a central location. We don't have anywhere where we could house people temporarily, where we could provide medical assistance temporarily, where we could have volunteers meet and go out into the community to help. These are some of the things that a community center will afford. And I think it's well worth our responsibility as aldermen to take that opportunity to see, is there an opportunity to provide a community center here in Dardenne Prairie. And we need to discuss it a little bit more from different angles. People have different ideas, and I really realize that. And it would be good to see what the community wants. Is that something they desire? If it is, we can move forward. If there's not that much interest, we can say, okay, we tried. So I leave that with you and give you a chance to ponder about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Nate. Does anybody else have any additional comments on this?
Yeah, I'd like to talk on it. I understand what you're saying. I hear, and I've been here probably just as long as you have. I've been here 28 years, probably might have been here longer. And I was around when that decision was made. I was also around at the time when we gave the land to O'Fallon to build the Renault Center. With the Renault Center, we have the same opportunity to join that and O'Fallon rates. So we do have a community center here with a pool and area to use. My caution to it, and the caution even back then, was the cost of the building alone to put that in. Then the cost to staff it with the people, because we run on a minimum staff here in this city now. I mean, I heard there were a handful of people for it. There were other people that weren't for it, because the other big thing that comes with that is, are we gonna have to raise the taxes? I've been on this board now for third term, and each year we've lowered the taxes here in Dardenne Prairie. I mean, you start doing that, and I think we're gonna have to start raising the taxes to cover the cost of a lot of these things. Before I'd even go any further, my consideration would be, if somebody can put a plan together of a cost analysis, the staffing analysis, the maintenance on it, the upkeep on it, I think it's out of the budget of Dardenne Prairie, but that's just my thought of it all, especially when we have the Renault Center that we can use as a community center with a pool.
I also believe that we need to put some numbers together to give this serious thought, but I don't find the Renaud Center as usable as you state, Alderman Johnson. The Renaud Center has so many classes and everything going on, which is great, but it doesn't allow for you to just go in and do what you might want to do in the pool, because there's classes scheduled in the pool. The pool hours are very limited. I don't know of much meeting space. The ladies play bunco or mahjong out in the open table area, so it doesn't provide a meeting space either. But that being said, it is an opportunity for people to go and exercise or to be part of classes. But I can't believe the Renaud Center would allow us to bring people in and house them had we had a disaster here in Dardenne Prairie. So I don't find that as much as an alternative to what Alderman Ney is saying. But I do think if we think we want to move forward, we really need to do a cost analysis on this to make sure of what we can afford and what we really need this community center for.
And I agree with you on the numbers. And one thing I didn't bring up on the numbers, and I'm sure Kathy can look into it, and she may even know about St. Peter's. They run a deficit on running those rec centers. Almost positive. So those would definitely be numbers that we'd have to bring into it if the area that's sustainable to sustain themselves. And that's why there's so many times you can't get into swim, because the running classes are charging for the swimming lesson and things like that to recover some of the costs.
I can comment that my experience with with the Recplex at St. Peter's, it was heavily subsidized on an annual basis. I think that's the nature of community centers. The idea is to bring activities to the community in an affordable and accessible manner, and that equates to subsidies by the taxpayers for those amenities.
Real quick, I know we're talking about one thing, but I think we're talking about two things altogether. It's finding a place for our community to go to, but also have a backup for anything that would happen. I know there has to be, I don't know if there is now, but opportunities to find grants for shelters or something like that, that we can also create space for our community. But I would love to see the cost. I just want to see the breakdown, but I don't know if we're talking about two things or one thing, but definitely I like the idea of having a center where if something ever happens in Dardenne, that community can go to. So yes.
It's okay. I guess I should weigh in, and I would say that I'm worried that it could be cost prohibitive to build and staff and maintain a community center. But again, we can run the numbers and see what that looks like.
Okay, so it sounds like we are probably in agreement of a cost benefit analysis for this to be conducted to assess the viability of it to move forward. In this case, I would like to do a show of hands for all who are in favor of the city to do a cost benefit analysis on this. Okay. So, Annette, did you say no cost benefit analysis?
No.
Okay. Okay, so we will move forward with a cost benefit analysis. City Administrator, what is your recommendation for that?
I think that if you want just a basic evaluation of a community center to include construction costs, operational costs, et cetera, we could probably do that on the staff level. And that might give everybody a little more information to consider. But I think if we really wanted to move that forward, then I think we would need a professional study by recreation consultants.
Alderman Nay, Alderman Detweiler, is it line with your expectations?
I don't spend too much money. Sorry for that. But
Okay.
I also want to make sure that we give the community an opportunity to come and voice their opinions that want to.
Okay.
Such a gathering.
So it sounds like the opportunity is that we take a moment to do a cost benefit analysis within the city staff using our resources that we have. Revisit it with the board once that's completed, and then have a discussion based off of that as far as future discussion. Okay. All right, thank you guys on that one. The third, we're going to move on to number 3 on the items for discussion consideration. This is a RBA from City Administrator, memorandum of understanding between the county and city regarding a portion of Waterford Crossing Drive. Kathy, I'll let you go ahead and take over on the explanation of the background on that one and what you had in mind.
I know, Mayor, you and the ward aldermen have been involved in considerable discussions the past week and a half related to Waterford Crossing Drive and a significant pothole there. This is a repeat for me, sort of a deja vu situation of conversations I had earlier this year and a battle that we took on with the city of O'Fallon and the county over who is responsible for Waterford Crossing Drive. And I'm referring to this piece, the red highlighted piece up there. You can see it's contained completely within the city limits of O'Fallon. However, from a legal perspective, they have no ownership or responsibility for that portion of the roadway. It's been determined to be the county's responsibility to maintain that. The county has no true interest in that because it doesn't serve any of the county resources, right? It's serving Darden Prairie, our Waterford Crossing residents in particular, and then O'Fallon and the Renaud Center being one of those businesses, the high school, I think it's a high school, middle school, thank you, there. And so we were engaged in considerable conversation about who's going to repair this particular pothole. And it brought to light again, this issue about maintenance and the trouble we've had in trying to get somebody to fix it. The St. Charles County new Administrative Director, Rob Wiley, approached me last week and asked if I would bring to the board a consideration to enter into a memorandum of understanding by which the county would replace that roadway to county standards. And then the city would annex that roadway into the city limits of Darden Prairie and take over long-term maintenance and responsibility for snow plowing, for example, is another issue that comes up long-term. So, the annexation would allow the city to have full control over the condition and maintenance of Waterford Crossing Drive. An upgraded roadway would have an anticipated life of 25 to 30 years. Obviously, there's going to be potholes, that we would have to repair along the way, and we would take on snow plowing maintenance for that roadway. By annexing it into the city of Darden Prairie, we would resolve that ambiguity and that fight that we continue to have with the county and O'Fallon related to responsibility for this roadway. Now, on the other hand, while this roadway serves Darden Prairie residents, it also, as I pointed out, serves O'Fallon businesses. And the fact that they are not willing to take responsibility for this roadway is not only frustrating, but perplexing. But they've been adamant, and I know, I believe, Mayor, you've had conversations with their mayor. I've had conversations with their city administrator. But it serves the Renaud Center, Pheasant Run Golf Course, the sports park, Scrubbles Car Wash. So it does serve them. The county does not prioritize this roadway for maintenance because, again, it doesn't serve any county interests directly. It doesn't serve any citizens in the unincorporated area. It only serves Darden Prairie citizens in O'Fallon. Again, future obligations under this memorandum of understanding would give us the long-term maintenance. And 25 years from now, we'd be the ones replacing that roadway. I think it's important, and I stressed to the county that they would have to bring this up to county standards before we would even think about this kind of an agreement. They've indicated that if we enter into a memorandum of understanding with them on these terms, they would likely replace this roadway by the end of the year. They would make it a priority. They are anxious to relieve themselves of the responsibility of this roadway. So I agreed to bring this up to the board for your consideration and direction. I have no formal recommendation on it. I've tried to present, the facts and the issues at hand related to this decision.
You have to also remember all the buses that travel on this road. And the road there, and I forgot what name it is, right there at the start of our subdivision, is going to be extended on to the outer road also. So how much more additional traffic is going to come in on that other road that's going to be trying to bypass and everything else? I mean, unless they're willing to give up like the clubhouse of Dardine and the links, then we'd get some revenue, which I never understood that we own the majority of the golf course, but the clubhouse is in O'Fallon, so they get all the revenue out of it. So if they're willing to give that up, I'd really consider maybe, something there, but.
I totally agree with you, but I have a question. Who owns the land just north of that right there, that uninhabited land? Is it O'Fallon or us?
O'Fallon.
Fallon, and they just approved a 33,500 square foot Mercy building to go in there. So you know,
Gonna bring
they
tons of
continue
traffic.
to put businesses, although we know, medical buildings don't bring in a lot of revenue, but they are landlocking that road with O'Fallon businesses, but yet not willing to take the responsibility to pay for that road. And as much as, I've been on that road when those buses are coming and going, and, it's a bad entrance onto K or exit off of K, however, which way you're going, but I just don't understand the benefit to this city to take on another road that we're not getting any tax dollars from that road. And it's obviously O'Fallon isn't willing to help us out on this. So I don't know. I just can't see the benefit to the city other than it would be helping the residents have a nicer road, but I don't know that this is a solution to that.
I agree 1,000%. I don't understand why we would take that on, that liability on, when it's clearly in O'Fallon. Yes, we have residents that use that, but I don't understand the benefit for O'Fallon would be for all the businesses that are there. And I see a much lesser advantage for Darting Prairie.
My question when this first was coming up was, what kind of road are they gonna put in if, with all them buses and everything else going through there, if they put in highway grade 6-inch thick and all that, that would last, that highways are rated in 10 years. I mean, that might be something, but if they're just gonna put a standard road in, that you're not gonna get that out of there now with all that traffic of those trucks. And there's a lot of trucks goes into that, I think there's a maintenance shed or something in there too.
There's a recycling center.
Recycling center that's there. They pick up all the time. I mean, I just don't know. Well, once again, it's O'Fallon and their residents ask for something, they tell them no.
All right, so it sounds like the board pretty much agrees that is there anybody in favor of annexing this? We'll just put it that way. So I think that this fails.
Thank you. I have my answer for the county.
You're welcome. All right, thanks, everybody. Number 4, moving right along. All right, so this one is another one from our city administrator, and it's to do with staffing, in addition of an IT manager and executive assistant / deputy clerk position. Once again, Kathy, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, I've had, I guess, about 7 months to consider the city's operations, staffing, and in particular gaps in staffing. And I feel that we have 2 gaps in staffing at this time. One is IT support services. We contract for those services with a third party, but those services are really limited to troubleshooting and repair of our system. They're not really available to us from a strategic long-term planning consideration, knowing our operations, understanding what we need in order to better serve our citizens. You all have witnessed the technology struggles we've had here just at the dais. That our third party does not provide resources for. Our third party provider does a great job responding, but again, we're one of many clients they have putting in trouble tickets and asking for requests. So, we're stopped, unable to do business until one of them can respond to our requests. So it's those day-to-day little troubleshoots, and then the longer term planning and considerations related to, cybersecurity and again, software and technology to serve our community. We're really behind the times on that. I think we met with Americom today, and I think of the maybe 15 devices we have, 11 of them are at end of life and have been for a couple of years. They're out of warranty, things like that. They just don't have planned. We have no plans for migration to newer technology. So I think I've probably beat that dead horse on the IT technology, but that gives you an idea of that. The other one is providing high-level administrative support for the city clerk position and mine. I'll be honest with you, I spend a lot of my time on high-level administrative tasks like writing ordinances, drafting resolutions, doing research on city code and things like that. That's not an effective and efficient use of my time. I don't have time to work with our staff and staff development. I don't have time for strategic planning. And I think some of you can agree, I don't have time for some of the special projects that the board wants and has asked for, because I just don't have the capacity in my schedule to do that. I generally work 82 to 85 hours in a pay period. So it's not that I'm not giving you all a lot of my resources and time. It's just how my time gets spent. The same thing's true for the city clerk. Some of those tasks that I'm doing that she could be supporting, she's reviewing credit card statements and paying bills and getting payroll out the door. And so I think, again, it's an ineffective use of her time. It's costing our taxpayers a lot of money for her to do those kinds of tasks when she could be putting them into financial reporting so that we could be more transparent with the public on a consistent basis about where we are, and again, support our strategic initiatives. So I think it would strengthen our internal operations and enhance our efficiency. It would free senior staff to concentrate on more strategic and mission critical goals. I believe it'll improve our responsiveness to residents. One of our residents who's sitting in the audience today made the comment to me that I never answer my phone when he calls, and that's not personal. It's not intentional. I'm not ignoring his phone call. It's because I'm tied up and can't be responsive to our citizens like I would like to be. And elected officials, I know oftentimes they try to call me and reach me and can't because I'm busy in these kinds of things that really aren't serving the best interests of our residents. They're high-level clerical tasks. And I think this will help provide our city for future growth and modernization, in particular in the IT area. I will say, I did just a quick comparison, and I just took the city of Lake St. Louis as an example. Our payroll to total revenues is at 15.6%. Lake St. Louis is at about 21%. With these two positions I'm recommending that we add, we would then be at around 18%, considering, some salary increases I anticipate with the Evergreen study. So I think we're still, at a reasonable level. And but I think these staff positions are necessary to best serve the citizens of Garden Prairie.
I have to agree with everything Kathy says. We have been going through this IT situation for the years I've been on this board. And as far as clerical help and stuff up here, I come up and try to donate time to do different events and stuff too. Because I see the work that our staff does up here, and I think they all work very hard in doing what they do. And yes, it is hard sometimes to get a hold of Kathy. You get a lot of texts back. I'll call you soon. I'll call you soon. But no, I think if this is, and I believe we have this in our budget for salary expense already. So it's not like we have to go back and redo our budget or anything. With it being within our expense salaries, it's much needed services. And I think we ought to move forward with this.
Okay. Everybody seeing thumbs up and nods from this end, and
I'd like to make a motion that we approve this.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I really appreciate your support.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. All right, moving on to the last item for review of the 6/18/25 Board of Aldermen agenda for the regular meeting. Do we have any discussion? Anybody you want to chat about anything that's on the regular agenda for this evening?
I'm good with it.
None heard? Nope. Okay. All right, staff communications, city attorney.
I don't know from there.
City engineer is not here. City administrator?
Thank you. Our first summer concert is Friday night. It is Bushwhack and the Hollywoods from 6:30 to 9:30. This is a free event. One of 3 concerts we'll have this summer, not including Garden Prairie Days, which is at the end of the summer. It is free and the concession stand is open. I've not had the pleasure of attending one yet, but I understand this is a great family event. So I encourage everybody to come out. I want to just share that we did complete the snow plow removal RFP. It is out on the streets. Bids are due back, proposals are due back to us July 11th. And we're hopeful that we will get some good proposals so we can provide quality snow plowing services to the citizens. Last year was a rough year. The mayor and I attended an America 250 event. It was supporting the St. Charles County Committee for looking towards the 250th anniversary of our country on July 4th, 2026. I have to say it was a very touching event. It was very patriotic, a lot of speakers, including our mayor. It reminded me of the blessings of being an American citizen. And then last but not least, our city clerk, when she wasn't doing high-level administrative clerical tasks, initiated an audit for motor vehicle sales taxes, making sure, that they got appropriately credited to the city of Garden Prairie. She asked for an audit of the February 1, 2022 through June 30th, 2024 time period. And we will be receiving $251,222.07. This is the 3rd time she's initiated an audit, and we've received over $300,000 back, this being the largest one that she's recovered for us. So I commend her for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that, Kim. We are greatly supportive or appreciative of your due diligence and all you do. But this is a good testament to that. Thank you very much.
We'll be able to pay your salary now.
All right. Anything else? All right. Next up is Alderman. Okay.
Yeah, I got something to bring up, and this is an item that I have brought up over the last 3 years. It's got to do with Henning Road and Barrett Haven Boulevard, where it connects across to Bluebird Park to Barrett Haven Park. The crosswalk there is not very highly visible as being an S-curve, and you also coming over a bridge. We have many people walking there. There's a lot of elderly, even the person we recognize, Jim Painter, that picked up all the trash and everything. He crosses there also. And I would like to see that some kind of flashing crosswalk with a restriping be done there before somebody gets injured. I mean, I would rather be proactive in this one, because with us knowing that there's a danger there, possibility of being sued, would we be liable? I don't know, but I'm sure it'd tie us up in court with a lot of cost. John isn't cheap when he has to represent us, so I'd rather do something ahead of time. So my recommendation would be to give it to the city administrator and the city engineer to look at this and to see what is warranted out there and bring it back to us at the next meeting, if the board's in favor of that.
I know I am, and I would like to just add commentary on this one. I'm, Liv's, live right close to there, and we've talked about this before, but somehow things weren't done in the past, so just to let the board know my position, I'm very supportive of it, and I think it's something that we should look into as well. And I've already asked, but still welcome the input of the board, but I'm fully supportive of this, so. Yep, any questions? Yeah. I agree. Yeah. And especially the ones near our schools as well. And that's something that's to that note, separately, Kathy and I have had discussions about this as we've, kind of moved forward in the first couple months of here, as mayor. And we did not receive a grant on striping that we hoped we would have gotten. So it's something that we're going to readdress, and we will update the board on that. But I do agree that this one is, I walked over there on Father's Day, and I played a little pitch and catch with my son in that field, and some batting practice and stuff. But my wife and I and the dog, I mean, when you're moving slow with a family, people are speeding by there, and they're not going the speed limit, and there's no striping, so they don't feel they need to stop. And I think that
I told you not to wear that shirt saying mayor.
that all makes sense now. So I agree, and I think this one we should definitely prioritize based off of that. And again, since it's been brought up so many times, so we'll have city administrator and city engineer look into it and go from there. So
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Okay. Any other aldermen?
You're real quick. This past week, I got to go to our newly elected officials meeting in Columbia. I just want to make sure the board knows that options with the MML, there are great opportunities to meet other aldermen and to hear other stories about their cities and how we don't want to mimic the bad things, but actually learn from their mistakes. I had a great time. I learned a lot. John Young has the best presentation, somebody said. So that wasn't me. I didn't say that. Somebody else said that. So I want to say thank you. And lastly, Mayor, I would love to get matching shirts when we go to these functions. Some of the cities, they have all nice matching shirts when you all come, just throwing it out there. So that's all.
Understood. And actually, Kim and I just had that discussion today. So I think we're all, I have one blue polo, which you guys always see that I always wear the same shirt. And I think Alderman Johnson and I got the same clothes at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think that's well taken, and we'll certainly take action on it. Thanks for your comments. Okay.
I don't know, St. Peter's got jackets,
I do too. Where's yours?
No, I'm talking about a suit coat jacket. Yeah, suit coat jacket. With a, yeah, they have suit coat jackets.
Okay. All right. Well, that I think is gonna wrap up the regular meeting. So for those who are new to this, or maybe have be the first time being here in the audience, we do at the end of the meeting, when there are specific items that we do, we'll go into closed session. So we're going to go into closed session right now. I'm going to request a roll call vote to hold closed session pursuant to RSMO 610.021, section 1. Entertain a motion.
I'm
Roll
in
call.
favor.
Sorry, city clerk, would you please call the roll?
Second.
Ryan.
Johnson,
Aye.
Alderman Waters,
Aye.
Alderman Gettemeyer, Alderman Wilson, Alderman Nay,
Aye.
Alderman Detweiler.
All right, we'll move to closed session, and we will see you all in a few minutes. Thank you.